You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love. Well, welcome to the Skateboarding Bros Show. Tonight we're going to watch video that's so old that there's no volume. So we're going to make it up. It looks like we've got some ramp footage, as well as some Alabama footage, which is pretty exciting. I remember going there. It seemed like I was going there for a very long time. Long drive. So without further ado, we'll wait. Tim, hopefully he can figure out how to use a webcam. And maybe one day I'll learn how to use Zoom properly. So
this goes to show you, when we start looking at this, I had the latest technology for Super 8 film, but there wasn't enough light to really make it robust like TV. So for you kids that are 10, 15, 20 years old, your parents weren't even born yet. So this is like old stuff, and I'm not sure what kind of lights they had, but we'll have to just make it out and create some stories out of all this.
So Neil,
it's Kona.
Did Kona have a ramp like this? Yeah. Wood exposed?
The one that was wooden exposed.
Yeah, it's right in front of the bleachers there. And you can see some judges and stuff. I think it's Kona.
Yeah, it's Kona. This is Kona.
Send in. Oh, there he is. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Is any video playing? You sharing video, Edgar?
Nope.
Oh, God.
It looks like your pool's starting to fill up a little bit, Tim.
There you go.
It was.
There it is.
Sorry.
So I believe this is the Kona ramp they put up in front of the bleachers there.
Yeah.
And for that era, that was cool. It had a little flat bottom. People were able to do stuff, and
it was a horrible ramp. Let's not mince words. It was a horrible ramp. It had marine fiberglass on it. It was lumpier than all get out, and you had to pray that your knee pads didn't get ripped off, simply because it was layered with so much Coca-Cola that your kneecaps would get stuck to the surface of it.
But the crowd went wild.
And this is Billy Ruff.
Yeah, slide and roll to fakie to a gay twist. What?
Wow.
That's pretty heavy for that ramp.
And the
full screen, we're still getting all the ads and stuff, and all the other porn you can search. It's nice stuff,
but this was like the era when you could start doing knee slides and stuff. This was like a big advanced deal for a ramp. This was cool.
I'm trying, George.
So, George, right there.
There you go. Yeah, that's Blender there.
Yes.
In SIOs.
Wow.
Yeah, little Gila monster. You catch that?
Yes, I did.
Of course you did.
So what is a Gila monster? That's a hell of an invert, by the way.
Wow.
Oh,
that's cool.
So what is that? Wait.
That was called a stalled invert. He was going to bail. He didn't want to end his run on that, so he just jumped back in.
Who does that? You got to call that.
I actually witnessed Neil at Del Mar do a sad plant that was so extended and stretched out that he ended up in nose blunt, and then he just pulled it in.
And then, yeah, exactly. Of course,
I think we're going up to Alabama now. This is and we can go back and look at that stuff, but I think we're in Alabama now.
So finish what you were saying, Tim, about Blender.
Gila monster.
What does that mean?
Back it up. You'll see.
How far back?
Let's just watch it all again.
Yeah, it was after
These are like crappy lighting, It's like you could barely see it when you're there live, but the camera needs a lot more light. There's an old VHS camera.
varial invert, little rock and roll shifty.
Yeah, a little shifty, a little whoop-de-doo. Only one trick per wall, sir.
Backside, front side, early release.
Lean air or a kneel air.
There's the Gila Monster. That was just the Gila Monster. So it's a front side tail stall where you drag your heel.
And
There.
no, wait. Front side.
Front side tail stall. That was before this. So Navarrete still does them.
Yep. I still do them on occasion, depending on what location.
Don't do them on purpose.
So it's like a tail slide, but you're moving. I mean, tail stall, and you slide along on your tail.
Basically, it's like, well, the way that Neil did it there, if I'm not mistaken, is he actually grabbed it crail, and it was basically like a crail tail stall or a tail tap, basically. A Gila Monster is basically you go up like a frontside air, jam the tail on, but sometimes you miss the tail and it ends up just being the heel of your foot, hence the name, the Gila Monster.
Oh, okay, I got you. So, Flying Wheels, Gadsden, Alabama. Who skated it? Anybody?
I got that one.
I skated it after it closed. It probably got more action after it closed than it did during it.
It was a beautiful park. You know, you wonder what happened to the world. You know, it seemed like it had everything you wanted there, but
skateboarding died at that point. Yeah.
Well, it had a really killer snake run. Very deep half pipe.
Yeah.
To pass vert, and then this bowl had a couple of extensions on it, but it seems like the guys are having trouble. This must have been 77, 78, maybe 70.
Yeah, 78.
Because they were having a little trouble with their speed. You got to get the line right.
So I don't know who this is. He's rocking a Gull Wing shirt.
I don't know.
Who's up there with you guys? I know there's some Schwang footage later on in this.
Yeah, we took a whole crew up there. We did this stuff. So you know, and I'm so feeble-minded I can't remember who the hell's who anymore.
It was either front side line this way, or backside line. You could work the extensions, which were just smooth, rolled edged. I don't know, about 2 foot extensions.
That's a Kryptonics foam core.
Oh, yeah, that was a big board back then.
It seemed like power eaters.
So they tried to give that to Salva for his model. And he's like, I'm not riding that.
I bought one at Boulder at Boulder High Roller, and basically I skated it for about a month before it just completely utterly flexed out and was useless, and then I ruined it by trying to use it as a skimboard.
Good job.
Went to Boulder High School or Boulder, Colorado.
That's a Sensation Basin shirt.
That's
both
Peter Andrews.
My kids graduated from Boulder High School.
Nice. Yeah, that park was pretty amazing, and I mean, needless to say, I was very fortunate that I was able to actually skate there when I did. Once again, it was just the benefit of my parents, or I should say my dad working for Eastern Airlines, so I got to fly everywhere for free, and we were there on a family vacation.
It's nice how they put a chain link fence right where you need to be coming up on the lip here. It's like the security world crap.
That might be somebody I know skating right now.
Well, anybody that's watching that knows who this is, kind of chime in and need some comments.
That's me, Phil. That's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like Ed Womble.
So there, I don't know if anyone saw that Chuck Holtz actually did a thing. Well, basically, it's a laser etching of a photo that he has of Monty doing a backside boneless, and it's actually at this park after it was closed.
Ah. So this was like past vert almost a little bit the whole way. I think Alan did his routine in the first 20 feet of the half pipe. And you could go 100 yards down there. It was deep. I think Kevin Moore was the local. I think that's who that is.
All right, back it up. We got to start over on some of this stuff. Sorry I didn't put a longer package together, but I just figured this is like so old and so dark. This is the dark ages of skateboarding.
So I want to say this is 81. I want to say.
Sounds about right, because, I mean, this was
the only reason why I don't think it was 81 is because, here, I'm going to send you a link.
It's a flat skateboard he's riding on.
It had concave, sort of. But I just pulled up the 1981 issue of Thrasher here, and there is a photo of Blender doing an Andrecht during the daytime, and he's not wearing a red helmet.
There's the crowd. There you go.
Yeah, that's definitely Kona, just with the
I can't tell who's there, but got a good score.
Real quick, back up to Billy's last run, because there's another little trick in there that is just insane. Yeah, okay, let's play.
How far?
About right there. About right there. Let it play. He does frontside
tail stall.
Frontside unit, which is a frontside 540 with a hand plant in the middle of it.
Sweeper.
It's right there. Or
lake flip.
After that. It's so that lake flip, Miller flip, let it keep going. It's coming up here, I think right after this wall.
Okay, axle stall, now he's ready for something.
Unit.
Now what the difference between that and a Miller lake flip?
Because he makes an additional 180 out of it. So it actually ends up being a 540 as opposed to a 360.
Oh, right at the end, you can't even notice.
And that was when that trick, I mean, he was, if I'm not mistaken, I think Billy might have been the person that invented that.
Well, it's like making a revert. It's basically right at the last second, you're throwing another 90. But it's a commitment move because you got to get it done for the tranny. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this. These two guys are killing it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was actually I was at this event because I pretty much did the 81, 82, 83, and 84 Kona contests as a kid. I'd go up there for the pro events. Yeah, it was a good time, man. Real good time.
Awesome, man. I'm glad you could get to relive it. This is crazy.
You know, when I shot this stuff, I didn't know who was who. So if somebody told me Neil Blender was hot, I'd shoot it because I only had 10 minutes worth of film in my camera to do anything.
So
well, he's definitely killing it.
This might have been the Sun Deck event, which would have been 83, I think, or 82.
I was already dead by then.
But I do know that he is riding his model because I reviewed the video on it, and he like one of his bales. He actually, right there. That was his very first model and very first graphic that was out.
Was it a Veriflex? Is that what it was?
No, GNS. He rode for GNS.
Okay.
And so did Billy Ruff.
I take that back. I might have been up there in '83, but it was right then. It was the end of my life, so everything had collapsed right around then. So for me, I
went to one contest at Kona to skate in it, and it was. I thought it was going to be like the pool or the stone, the tombstone, and it was neither. It was one of these. I think it was a blue ramp.
So the blue ramp is right on from where on that wall right there. It is literally on the other side of that, because the first ramp that they had basically was unskateable, completely unskateable. It was about 15, 16 foot tall, with no vert and no decks and no way to get up to the top of it. And then they built the blue fiberglass ramp, and it was better, but it still had the blue ramp still had the marine fiberglass on it. It was still lumpy as all get out. Then they built this after that.
It seems back in the day, everything was built unskatable, and then it's taken another decade or two to get skatable. So, does anybody build an unskatable surface anymore?
At this point, no. I mean, the just the sheer concrete work and the quality of the concrete work at this point is insane. And not to mention, with a surface like with Skate Light, it's there's no point in building anything else at this point.
So we've learned the human gravity, movement, bearings, wheel. We can build parks that are fun.
Oh yeah.
This park was really good. So was Huntsville, Alabama, and apparently they've got another one. I never got to get to Huntsville, but this park was fun to skate, and it was a good time.
There was a strong crowd up in Alabama, because whenever I put a video out or whatever, I'd always get emails from these people going, "Show me more," blah blah blah. And so I do have quite a few from a couple of trips up into Alabama, Gadsden and Huntsville and stuff. So it was a hot area. But again, this park, they closed. They all closed. Recession hit. Insurance killed everything. Lawyers showed up. Blah blah blah. It's just it was a weird time.
Yeah, for sure.
George fall asleep.
He had a hard stop at 8:30.
Oh.
Somebody didn't get the meeting going early enough. So this is Peter Andrews in a colored Sensation Basin team shirt.
Nice, yeah. Peter was hot. I mean, he had a flow to him. It was really good.
You know what? He would skate okay, and then a contest would come, and his level would rise. He would always skate better in contests. I'll never forget a sweeper he did on the first wall at the Basin. His first move, he gets going there flying, and he must have done like 10 feet in the air before he touched his back foot down and made it. He never made that trick in practice. And then he went forward huge. And, and here's this guy, and he's got, I don't know, some sort of Hawaiian Cincy Bud shirt on. And that's about where I tried my invert and fell straight on my head.
Yeah, but look how the pipe, it doesn't let you get up to the lip. It's like, it was a tough...
Well, at the top
of that area, they need to let us know what was wrong with that layout.
Well, the pipe went up on an angle, and then, let me see if I can do this with the iPad. I'm sure it's not made for that. But you had an angle. Oh, I got this wrong. It's backwards. And then there was like a 4-foot a little like 4 inch, 45-degree section of concrete. And then there was the flat deck. So there was no coping, no edge to stop your truck on. It was just nothingness. And he was the only one skating the deep end. His last name was Moore.
So young folks, study your geometry, because this is all about geometry here. And you figure it out, you can build some really cool skate surfaces.
So
it's really amazing, like these things that now in hindsight we're like, oh my gosh, that was absolutely horrible to skate, but it's incredible the amount of things, or the kinds of things that people are skating in this day and age that are not built to skate, that are even gnarlier than some of the gnarliest places that were built to skate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's crazy is how hard this is a great GNS. If you're a GNS guy, this is a great historical video to watch, because these two guys are smoking it, and they're doing it on a ramp that's giving. When they're pumping, they're getting
Oh, actually, this thing was pretty darn solid because of the fiberglass. It wasn't until a few years later that it became worse, essentially, because moisture had gotten underneath the fiberglass, and then it was rotting the wood underneath the fiberglass, in addition to bubbling up the fiberglass. It wasn't a great idea, but hey, it was better than riding on raw plywood at the time.
You got to make the mistakes in order to move forward.
And that was an incredibly progressive move that Neil just did right there. A little fakie to Smith stall, frontside Smith stall. Not a whole lot of people were doing things of that nature at that point in time.
This is all excitement here. This is new stuff.
Well, it was, you touched on something good there, Tim. I used to ridicule Chris Bockham and a bunch of the groms at the Basin because they were always riding the trough, which was a miniature half pipe.
Right.
And then you took that and blended it with the fact that now they don't have bowls to skate unless we drain them. And now we've got half pipes, and now we're going to do the lip tricks that we practiced in the little trough on a foot of vert. And that's kind of exactly where it went. Tony was doing the same stuff. And I always hammer on Bockham when I see him skate someplace, and he's still shredding. And I go, you're doing great, but do a trick, do a run that uses the bowl instead of find where you can ride it like a half pipe.
I completely agree. And, there's a lot of people that, they grew up on half pipes and learned everything that they know how to do on half pipes. There's a perfect example, and it's certainly by no means a dig, but like a lot of guys that, that came up in the half pipe era really weren't that great when you put them in a bowl because they didn't have lines. They didn't know how to go around, through corners and things of that nature. And it's still true today. I can think of a couple of skaters that you throw them in a bowl and it's face wall, axle stall on the shallow end, face wall of the deep end, axle stall on the shallow end, face wall of the deep end, just so they can do their banger tricks, but they're not really skating the bowl.
So it's like combi pool.
Yeah.
Combi pool to shallow end to corner to round, to shallow end. Yeah, but that's okay. They're still skating. I skated today for about 2 minutes.
Excellent.
It was awesome. I skated my trash can to the street.
He had a spot back there at Kona where he bailed, and he took 2 steps and went to his knees. That was like the big advance to not hurt yourself. You don't roll. You want to do 2 steps, get your bearings, and then slide on your knees. And that was like a big moment in the history of the survival of this sport.
Well, I remember in Skateboarder they did and how they would always do their trick tips, how to kind of thing.
Yes.
They actually had a how to knee slide, and it was called The Fine Art of Falling. And it was basically because they had just came out with the Norcons, and you were able to actually knee slide between the Norcons and the Ferragamos before Rector actually came out with their version of the hard plastic cap. But I studied that. I studied that article because at that time I didn't have plastic cap knee pads, but I was like, when I get some.
What's funny is
boards for bros. You give them the boards, but maybe we need to give them some kneecaps too. So,
well, I having worn pads my entire life, I wish that I never had, because my knees are beyond worked as a result of my lower leg getting shoved up against the joint. So I've got and as well ACL damage and lower back pain because of constantly going to the knees. I've since learned how to ass slide on everything, and it's way easier on your body than going to your knees.
But we need some video of ass sliding then, because maybe the knee slide, elbow slide on plastic is no good.
Well, it hurts a lot. I will say that having those pads definitely gave, gave you a sense of protection that was definitely worthwhile. And it definitely makes you feel like you can go for things a lot more, but having those pads to be able to go to a knee if you're in the wrong place. But I can honestly say I've got a brand new set of knee pads that I've owned for about 4 months now that I've yet to even put on my body.
Wow. Wow. So the plastic knee and elbow is no longer what you want. You want to be able to butt slide this thing.
I think so. Plus the fact that at this point in time, with all the quality, the quality of the cement work, you can actually slide.
Yeah, you get a little burn. You get a little burn. That's about it.
Back in the day, you couldn't ass slide at Basin.
No, and that's what I was going to talk about. That's why these don't have holes in them. There's scratches because I did fall, but I never mastered the art of knee sliding because I didn't need it. But what's funny about this picture is is he sponsored? He's got to buy a new board if that board breaks, because sponsored people don't catch their board.
Right.
He's like holding it, and that's where the Markells would kill you because they weighed 20 pounds.
Well, so let's back up on that. Is this the guy that's riding the foam core? Because that little rubber bumper might have saved him.
Well, it's right after this, and you can't do cess slides, Ed. Stop it. That's why you wiped out.
There you go.
All right, so
there it is.
He would roll out and roll back in. That was crazy. So yeah, that was more.
The foam core. That's the foam core board. So he probably could have gotten away with letting it fall just because of that rubber bumper.
Oh boy, he got in the back seat there. Yeah, he was blowing us all away skating. He had those weird, I don't even know what kind of elbow pads they were. They looked like robot.
If you're watching this, tell us who these people are, because we want to know, and we want to see how much that foam core board is now worth.
Oh, they're worth about $3,500 in mint condition.
What is it? How about these? These have authentic Womble sweat on them.
Oh, director.
Yes. They're truly a rare thing. My sweat. Yes.
As well as I used to like to call it rector breath.
Oh yeah, all day at the skate park. One of the few things, one of the best things about the Basin was that Phil had a shower set up. So you wear your surf shorts under your SIO pads, and when you're kind of done, you're ready to go party with Barry and have a burger and watch the surf run and just hang out. You can take a shower.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That was water. We just didn't tell you, but it was okay.
Thank you very much. Speaking of polluted water, I put the picture up. I've got it on the website of me throwing the Z-Flex into the lake.
All right. Yeah.
And Tim, you don't remember this at all? We had an adversarial relationship with the Z East manager, and he had the night before he had gotten really out of hand a little bit. So when I did my freestyle routine, it was to get tubed, and then I went behind this little hut pump house. And picked up, Phil gave me permission to do it. I picked up a 2x4 and I had a machete and I took a chop at it. And then I picked up a Z-Flex and I threw it into the lake. And so there it goes, $1,000 Z-Flex today. And it's at the bottom of the lake. And this guy goes diving and he swam and dove until he got it. And Phil goes, "That's still mine." I let him throw it in the lake, but it's still in my park. You can't have it.
Yeah, I got the footage of the guy that had a rental board and he threw it in the lake, and everybody got on his case and went out front, and Scroggs and everybody was all jumping on him for stealing stuff or doing stuff. That was wrong.
Oh yeah, he had about 6 or 7 boards stashed in his car,
so,
and
we'll bring that up in a future episode. But it was a moment there, and I lost my cool with the guy, you know, and I feel bad for him. He's probably some attorney or something now, but.
So let's definitely throw him under the bus.
I got Alabama in the daytime coming up at another episode, and hopefully the Alabama gang will hook up with us and start chit-chatting and all that kind of stuff. This has been exciting. I've had a great time tonight.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to throw something in about boards ending up in lakes and in things of that nature. So I in 1984 I was working at a surf/skate shop down in Fort Myers, and I sold a lot of Schmitt boards there. But I had sold this board to a kid, and he rode the hell out of it, all this, that, and the other. And 20 years later, he comes in with his son with that board.
Oh.
And the board is completely redone. It is split. It looks like it had been in a canal. It was. His father had gotten pissed off at him and threw the board in the canal. And he inherited the house when his dad passed away and all of that. And his son wanted a skateboard. And he's like, well, there's one right in there if you want to go get it. And he went in and he found the board.
Oh, wow.
And he pulled it out, and the guy was, he had restored the board with the son to be able to ride it. But that's a testament to the quality of boards that Paul was making, that it could sit submerged and still be in one piece. Not to mention the toxicity of the glues.
How long did he have it before his dad chucked it?
About a year.
You know, yeah, we got to talk about Paul Schmitt sometime and do a whole show on him, because when he was just 16 and he got so wound up about skateboarding, and he had these ideas in his head all the time. He is a fabulous person to do the Schmitt sticks, and now he's making the boards, and he's got a huge company worldwide, and you know, it all comes from just being inspired by doing something. And when I was a college professor, it was the ones that had hobbies, and the people that had hobbies were the ones that were curious, that really jumped at things and learned things. And skateboarders the same thing. If you don't have some kind of activity you're loving, you're just going to be, what do I do to get a better grade? You know.
Well, not to mention, then you start getting into, well, then you become a couch potato and you just watch sports.
Yeah, right. Let somebody else do it. What a dull life you could lead. But skateboarding is so cool, and I hope people start sending us some little notes and stuff, because this is 40-some years ago, and this guy's parents weren't just being born, you know, kind of thing. So.
Well, one of the greatest things that I ever read was somebody once said, and I forget where it was, but it was, I don't like to read. I like to do things that people write about.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Do epic shit.
Hey, fall down, make mistakes, and get up and do it again. So.
Yep, I thought that was a really good and appropriate quote. You know.
Yeah. Hey, Ed, wrap up this show. Let's get out of here.
So you've been watching and listening to the Skateboarding Bros Show. It is sometime in 2022, and this is episode 13, I think. We've been looking at a ramp at Kona, as well as Gadsden, Alabama. We appreciate it and look forward to your comments. Please like, share, follow, you know, send us notes, whatever we can do to help to address your memories and you know, try to create some more of our own. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. You have been watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Like and subscribe for more stories with the pioneers of skateboarding. Join us again when we have some special guests and more pictures from the past. Thank you.